If you don't like the entertainment landscape at the moment and you'd like it to change to get back to quality programmings, entertainment, rather than social education, then I think Netflix are the perfect example and case study of exactly how you can get that outcome. Because right now they are making many changes, slashing many projects, even some of their most prestigious ones, like a member of the royal family. Hey, the people have no talent and they're not going to make anything good. But this was a show that they want to have as a trophy on their mantelpiece. One that didn't necessarily get any viewers, but one they could certainly get good press for the company about. And that seems to showcase Netflix as a whole. There's a theory that morality and principles are more of a luxury than something built into humans. The moment a human starts to go without food, all of those things go out the window. It's a privilege to have them in the first place. And the thing is, companies work the same way. Well, they're supposed to value money the most. That's without having any employees. It's a theory. The moment you start filling a company full of employees, their values can overtake their primary reason if the company's doing really well. It becomes a luxury for that company to have morals and principles, regardless of whether you think those principles and morals of the company are the right ones. When Netflix was making loads of money, they could happily take on projects like those of Meghan Markle, and they didn't need to worry about the bottom line. And so the message suddenly became something they valued more than the money. Losing the money was a price they were willing to pay. But what happens when a company suddenly starts to lose a load of money and they can no longer afford that price? Suddenly, the values, the principles, the morals, that's a luxury they can't afford anymore, and they have to start getting back to what the customers want. Good entertainment. Because Netflix has been losing a ton of subscribers. They lost 200,000 in the first 3 months of this year, and they expect to shed another 2 million subscribers this quarter alone. When you've got losses like that, suddenly money begins to look very important. Because what happens if your company starts filling your ranks full of people that think profit is evil, or just have jobs which aren't tied to the success of the company in any way? They don't really care if the company is profitable or how much it's profitable, until they start losing money and job losses kick in. As soon as their job looks like it's on the line, suddenly it's really important that the company starts to make money. And when Netflix is losing more long-term subscribers, people which have been subscribed for more than 3 years, then you know they've seriously messed up at a fundamental level. They have to start cutting jobs because they can't afford to pay them anymore. And let's face it, you're probably just working on projects which weren't making them any money in the first place. So if they're cutting the projects, they can happily get rid of you as well. Those jobs were simply the cost of trying to move society in the direction you want. As were the next 70 jobs that they had in the animation department, who also went on top of those other 150. And they could happily axe these jobs and lose absolutely nothing, because they're just cutting the projects they were all attached to in the first place. Like there was 3 animation projects that were dropped, all of which seemed to be aimed at kids, including Ava DuVernay's Wings of Fire. You know Ava DuVernay, the one who was making the Naomi-verse, because the Naomi show was an incredible show that, yeah, that got cancelled after its first season as well. It must be great to be someone that can create failure after failure and still get hired for other jobs. But after all, the price of your wage is just a virtue signal, a price for the morals that they're willing to pay. All until they start to lose money and suddenly, oh, I'm sorry, your project gets axed. Then you've got the show that was adapted from the kids' book that was designed to teach babies how to discriminate against people based on how they look, which is exactly what I'd expect from a place like Netflix in the current year. Then you've got With Regards from Kindergarten. I don't know anything about this book, but I bet if I looked into it, it's not one I'd want to show to any future children of mine. All 3 were designed to influence children, something that Netflix seems to have taken particular interest in over the last few years. And then you've got Meghan Markle, Princess Meghan Markle, British royal family, someone at the peak of the privilege hierarchy. Her marriage put her life purely on Easy Street, so what could she possibly want to virtue signal over now? What a surprise, her show isn't aimed at adults either. No, it's about a 12-year-old girl who finds inspiration in a variety of influential type Bs throughout all of history. Our heroine Pearl is on a journey of self-discovery as she tries to overcome life's daily challenges. Yes, Meghan Markle, an actress and princess, sure knows the struggle of what it's like to lead a challenging life in today's day and age. daily challenges that can be overcome in such ways as to lie flat on your back for a prince. I'm thrilled that through Archwell Productions, we can bring you this new animated series which celebrates extraordinary Type Bs throughout history, and I'm delighted to announce it today. How much do you want to bet that she classifies herself as those amazing Type Bs throughout history? Somebody who came across to the British royal family, an institution which isn't supposed to be political at all, and yet immediately starts using it to virtue signal about whatever social cause she thinks is important today. But the issue they've got is those principles, those morals, are actually antithetical to the ones of their customer base. You know, normal people. And that makes them extremely expensive. Because if you want to hire these two, the couple that left Britain and everybody celebrated, then it's going to cost you 100 million over a multi-year deal, which gives them the green light to produce various different scripted series, docuseries, documentaries, features, and children's programming. Oh yeah, that was signed in 2020. And as of yet, they are yet to produce any content for the giant, mainly because everything they produce is trash, and Netflix just can't afford it right now. If only they had any talent or actual morals, then maybe their shows would be popular enough that they could continue. Unfortunately, if the view from your ivory tower is simply to preach at the peasantry, then yeah, that's going to be a cost, not a profit. If you want proof of how the entire entertainment industry can change, this is it. The companies need to lose enough money that, quite frankly, they're not left with any other choice. Now, things like Amazon Prime are going to be different because they can actually be supported by other parts of Amazon's business. If Amazon choose to, that just depends how far their company has fallen, how much their HR department has filled their ranks with people that agree with them, people who think that it's just a price worth paying. But when it comes to Netflix, a business entirely built around requiring to entertain people, those are the ones that will fall first, change first, and the signs are already in. It took a long time, but it's happening. If you want an example of exactly how long it took, well, you only have to look at their stock price. The last subscriber loss is what caused the big dip, but as you can see over the last 6 months, there's been 2 large dips, and it's just not recovered. And it actually went from 348 all down to its current price at 186. But something even more interesting has happened, because this is a 71% drop over the past 6 months. It did inflate over the last couple of years for obvious reasons, but this isn't just a come down from the last couple of years. If you set it to a 5-year scale, we haven't seen numbers as low as this since all the way back in December 2017. Their share price hasn't been this low for 5 years. No one can blame coming down from the last couple of years for this. That just gave them a little boost, probably extended their death spiral. But a company to lose 5 years of growth is absolutely astronomical. There's no wondering they're panicking and changing everything they're doing. Suddenly they've got to cut all of their morals and principle projects. Yes, that price is no longer worth paying anymore. Those shows aren't something they want to make. And the changes within the company are even more severe. That's why Netflix, instead of pandering to the workers, something that doesn't work, because if you give them an inch, they'll just keep going. These are people which are in the core of your workforce. They will destroy your company if you give in to them. The only way to treat them is, there's the door, get out. That's what you do. If you let your personal ideas come at the cost of profit, then you're not needed within a company because it's meant to make money. That's the attitude that always should have been done. You should never hire someone who thinks profit is evil, or that profit should be used to influence something. No, that's not what a company is there for. And now they're beginning to learn because they have no other choice. So they can no longer pander to the workforce. The workers don't get to make the projects that they want. They have to make the projects that the customers want, which is fundamental to any successful business. And so now, yeah, if you don't like the projects that you're working on, if you don't think that you can entertain a customer, there's the door, get out. You want to go outside and complain because, oh no, somebody said something that you don't want. Well, quite frankly, you're better off out there than you are within the company, because we're just going to carry on entertaining people like we should have done all these years ago. This isn't something that the people at Netflix wanted to do. It's something they were forced into because they had no other monetary choice. Yeah, you can value something else more than money as long as the money isn't an issue. But the moment that becomes an issue, everything else falls away and you've got to get back to what your actual business is. And that's why it's important to talk about trash entertainment, for the simple reason that it has an effect. Not watching this stuff has an effect. Cancelling subscriptions has an effect. It can take a long time. It can take years, as shown by Netflix's stock price, but it does have an impact. We may be in here for the long game, but it's a game that can definitely be won. It's just that places like Netflix are more susceptible to it, and so they fall first. And there are other entertainment platforms that can be next, like Netflix also fell for the Meghan and Harry lucrative deal of $25 million in 2020. Oh yeah, they've only released one show so far, which was just a holiday special featuring their family. Spotify certainly got value for money for that one. And companies like Spotify or Amazon are the next ones that are going to be interesting to look at, because they're supported by something else. Spotify is supported by its music. All the podcasts and everything else are just more of an extra, something they splash money on. Those are companies which still have the luxury of wasting money. And let's face it, if we've learned anything about people that want to push the shows based on these kind of ideas, it's that all of them are talentless hacks. And that's how you end up with people who will only make one show because they're lazy. They don't want to do any work because they've been given everything on a silver platter their entire lives. Because the only reason they even have a job in the first place is because they tick a checkbox or they just have the right beliefs in the current climate of that company. And when everybody involved knows that you're not there to make the company money in the first place, is it surprising when they don't do any work or put the bare minimum amount of work in order to crap out a series and then just call it a day? For companies like Netflix, where entertainment and subscribers go hand in hand, they will be the first to be affected. But companies like Spotify, other changes within the company might need to be made. They have to get rid of the staff who think that their values are worth more than the profit of the company. And for that, it may require an entire emptying of the HR department. Someone in the company needs to see that cost and think we need to get rid of that and completely wipe out the HR department, replace them with people who actually value profit and will focus on hiring people that also care about that, rather than caring about anything else. If in a company you want to gatekeep any single part of your company, your HR department should be the ones that you focus on the most. Those people should just be rabidly caring about profit and nothing else, because only by severely filtering out the people you employ will you ever get a company of people which are actually good at their jobs. And being good at your job means you should spend more time focusing on what the customer wants rather than what you want. Something which is severely lacking in basically the entire Hollywood area today. And for anyone that isn't within those companies themselves, there seems to be only one way that those companies can be influenced. The same way they were changed in the first place. Social influence, shame, backlash. Whenever they do anything bad, that's when everyone talks about it. Every single bad project is bad PR, until they realize that our company is being severely damaged from the inside by exactly the kind of product we're creating. And we need to change it, and that involves changing the people involved. But that's just my theory. What are your thoughts? Let me know down in the comments below. Like the video if you like the video, subscribe, more videos like this in the future, and I will see you in the next one. Bye-bye.